The guard's boots echoed through the cold metal corridor. Princess Hana of the Vexari Empire walked behind him, her royal robes dragging slightly on the polished floor. She had requested this meeting herself, much to her father's surprise. The Emperor didn't understand why his daughter wanted to see the human prisoner. Most people avoided the detention wing entirely. The human terrified everyone. Stories spread through the palace like wildfire. They called him the Reaper. He had destroyed 3 Vexari military outposts single-handedly, killed 200 soldiers, survived wounds that should have been fatal. When the Imperial fleet finally captured him, it took 50 soldiers to bring him down. Even then, he killed 12 more before the stun weapons finally worked. The guard stopped at a reinforced door. Through the thick glass window, Hana saw him for the first time. Jihoon sat on a metal bench, chains connecting his wrists to the wall. He looked smaller than she expected. The reports described a giant, a monster, but he was just a man. Scarred, yes. Muscular and dangerous looking, certainly, but still just a man. His dark hair fell across his eyes. Blood stained his torn uniform. Fresh bruises covered his arms. He looked up when the door opened. His eyes met hers, and Hana felt something strange. Not fear exactly. Something else. Recognition, maybe. Like looking at another trapped animal. Leave us, Hana told the guard. Princess, your father said, I said leave us. Her voice was harder now. Royal. The guard bowed and left, though she knew he would stand right outside. The door sealed behind her with a heavy click. Jihoon watched her approach. He didn't move, didn't speak. Just waited. I am Princess Hana, she said. 3rd daughter of Emperor Vokran. I've come to ask you questions. I know who you are. His voice was rough, probably from screaming during interrogation, but steady, unafraid. Your face is on every propaganda poster in this sector. She pulled a chair closer, but stayed just out of his reach. Even chained, he looked dangerous. My father wants information about human military capabilities. Defense positions, fleet movements. Then your father should have sent a torturer, not a princess. Jihoon leaned back against the wall. Unless you're here to watch. Some royals like that. Hana felt her face grow warm. I don't enjoy suffering. Could have fooled me. Your empire's been spreading suffering across this sector for 50 years. She had no answer for that. It was true. The Vexari Empire expanded constantly, crushing smaller civilizations. Her father called it bringing order to chaos. Others called it conquest. Why do humans resist so hard? She asked instead. Every other species eventually accepts imperial rule. They see our fleet size, our technology, our numbers. They surrender. But humans? You fight until you're dead, even when you can't possibly win. Jihoon smiled, but there was no humor in it. You really don't understand, do you? Understand what? What it means to be human. He shifted slightly, chains rattling. Your species evolved on a paradise world. Perfect temperature. Abundant food. Natural predators you could easily avoid. You had time to build civilization slowly, peacefully. You think every species is like that? Hana said nothing. She knew her world's history. Vexar Prime was indeed gentle, beautiful. Gardens grew easily. The weather rarely killed. Life was comfortable. Earth tried to kill us, Jihoon continued. Every day for millions of years, ice ages. Predators with claws and teeth, diseases, poison plants. Hostile tribes. We survived by being meaner, tougher, and more stubborn than everything else. We learned to hunt in packs, to make weapons from rocks and sticks, to never ever give up because giving up meant death. He leaned forward now, chains pulling tight. So when your empire shows up and demands we kneel, something in our DNA just laughs. We've faced worse than you. We've survived worse than you. And we'll still be here when your empire is dust. The intensity in his eyes made Hana's breath catch. This wasn't bravado. He truly believed it. You're one man in chains, she said quietly. Your people are scattered across maybe 20 worlds. We have thousands. How can you possibly think you'll win? Because we don't lose. We just haven't won yet. Jihoon's smile returned. Your empire made a mistake attacking us. You think this is war? You haven't seen war. Not real human war. Not what we do when we're truly desperate. Hana stood suddenly uncomfortable. You're insane. Maybe. Earth does that to you. She walked to the door, then paused. Something made her turn back. They tortured you. For 3 days. My father's interrogators are efficient. Why didn't you break? Ji-hoon's expression softened slightly. For just a moment she saw something other than the soldier. Something sadder. Because pain is temporary. But betraying my people? That's forever. Besides, he looked down at his scarred hands. I felt worse. That night Hana couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Ji-hoon's eyes. That absolute certainty, that complete lack of fear, even facing the entire Vexari Empire. She accessed the Imperial database, searching for information about Earth, about humans. Most of it was military intelligence, cold facts, and numbers. But she found personal accounts too. Stories from the first Vexari scouts who visited Earth decades ago. They described a world of impossible contradictions. Humans killed each other constantly, yet formed the strongest family bonds observed in any species. They created beautiful art, then used that same creativity to design horrific weapons. They were capable of extreme kindness and extreme cruelty, sometimes in the same individual. One report particularly struck her. A Vexari anthropologist had written, "Humans are persistence hunters. In ancient times, they would chase prey for days until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. They didn't need to be faster or stronger. They just needed to never stop. I believe this trait remains in their psychology. They will chase their goals with the same relentless determination, regardless of obstacles. This makes them extremely dangerous." Hana read that passage 3 times. The next morning, she returned to the detention wing. Ji-hoon looked worse. The medical staff had treated his injuries, but barely. They weren't gentle with prisoners. "More questions?" he asked when she entered. "No." Hana set down a tray of food. Real food, not the nutrient paste prisoners received. "I brought you breakfast." Ji-hoon stared at the tray, then at her. Suspicion clouded his features. "Why?" "Because I want to understand." She sat in her chair again. "Not your military, not your tactics, I want to understand what makes a human." "I'm not a specimen to study, Princess." "I know. That's why I'm asking, not dissecting." She pushed the tray closer. "Eat, then talk to me. Not as an interrogator, just talk." Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment. Then slowly he reached for the food. His hands shook slightly. Hunger, or maybe the after effects of torture. "What do you want to know?" he asked. "Everything," Hana said. "Start with why you became a soldier." And Ji-hoon, surprised by his own willingness, began to talk. 3 weeks passed. Every day Hana visited the detention wing. Every day she and Ji-hoon talked. The guards thought she was conducting extended interrogation. Her father approved, believing she was extracting military secrets. But Hana wasn't asking about fleet positions or defense grids. She asked about Earth, about Ji-hoon's life before the war. He told her about growing up in a colony called New Sol. It orbited a red dwarf star far from Earth itself. His parents had been farmers. They grew rice in underground hydroponics facilities. It was hard work, but honest, safe. "I wanted to be a teacher," Ji-hoon said one afternoon. He was healing now. The bruises had faded to yellow and green. They fed him better after Hana complained to the medical staff. Stupid, right? The Reaper wanted to teach children. It's not stupid. Hana had brought her lunch to share with him. The guards pretended not to notice. "What changed?" His face went dark. "Your empire changed it. The Vexari fleet came to New Sol when I was 19. They said we were in Imperial space now, said we had to pay taxes, follow Vexari law. My father refused. He said humans don't kneel to anyone." Ji-hoon's hands clenched into fists. The chains rattled. "They made an example of him, of our whole village, burned the farms, killed anyone who resisted. I survived because I was in the city that day, taking university entrance exams." Hana felt sick. She knew the Empire did this. She'd read reports, but hearing it from someone who lived through it was different. "I'm sorry. Don't apologize for something you didn't do." Ji-hoon's voice was sharp. "But don't pretend your people are civilized either. You conquer. You subjugate. You just do it cleanly from orbit so you don't have to see the faces of who you kill." She had no defense against that truth. "So you became a soldier," she said quietly. "I became a survivor. First I joined the Colonial Defense Force, then the Resistance, then..." He shrugged. "Then I became good at killing. Really good. And the more I killed, the more they asked me to kill. Eventually, that's all I was. The Reaper. The human monster who shows up in the night. You're not a monster. Ji-hoon laughed bitterly. Yes, I am. That's what war does. It takes normal people and turns them into weapons. Your empire wanted to fight humans? Fine, but they created me. Created thousands like me. And now they're terrified of what they made. Hana started visiting at night too. Officially, she was conducting psychological evaluation. Really, she just wanted to talk to someone honest. Someone who didn't bow and scrape and lie. Ji-hoon might be brutal, but he was real. One night she brought books. Vexari literature about alien cultures. Philosophy texts. I thought you might be bored. Bored? Ji-hoon raised an eyebrow. Princess, I'm chained in a cell waiting to be executed. Bored isn't the problem. They won't execute you. You're too valuable. Right, they'll just torture me forever instead. Much better. She sat closer than usual. The chair scraped across the floor. Why don't you hate me? I'm Vexari, royal, everything you should despise. Ji-hoon was quiet for a long time. I did at first. When you walked in that first day, I wanted to hate you. Planned to spit in your face, make you feel small. But then you asked real questions. You listened. You didn't pretend the empire was noble or just. You knew exactly what it was. He met her eyes. You're trapped too, aren't you? In your own kind of cage. Just prettier than mine? The words hit harder than Hana expected. Yes. Yes, she was trapped. Trapped by birth, by duty, by a throne she never wanted. Her father decided her future. Her advisors controlled her schedule. Her position prevented her from saying or doing anything real. I envy you sometimes, she admitted. You chose your path. I never had that choice. I didn't choose this. Ji-hoon gestured at the cell. War chose me. Survival chose me. I just didn't die when I was supposed to. But you're free in a way I'll never be. You've lived. Really lived. Fought for something you believed in. I've only ever existed in meetings and ceremonies and political marriages that never happened. Ji-hoon studied her with new interest. Political marriages? 3 times my father tried to marry me off to neighboring systems. Build alliances through blood. The first one I sabotaged by insulting the groom's entire culture at dinner. The second, I failed the genetic compatibility tests on purpose. The third, she smiled slightly. I may have hired someone to make him fall in love with his bodyguard instead. For the first time since they met, Ji-hoon laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was rough, unpracticed. But genuine. You're more rebellious than you look, princess. I'm a coward, though. I sabotage quietly. You fight openly. Fighting openly gets you chained in cells. At least you stood for something. They talked until the guards changed shifts. About freedom and duty. About choosing versus accepting. About what it meant to really live instead of just existing. Hana realized she'd never connected with anyone like this. Not her sisters who competed for their father's approval. Not the nobles who wanted her status. Not even her childhood friends who eventually saw her as royalty first and person second. But Ji-hoon saw her, just her. As she stood to leave, he called her name. Not her title, her name. Hana, be careful. Your visits are being noticed. Court politics are dangerous. How would you know about court politics? Because humans invented backstabbing before we invented space travel. And I can smell danger. His expression was serious now. Someone in your palace wants you dead. I can feel it. She wanted to dismiss it as paranoia, but something in his certainty made her pause. How can you tell? Because I've seen that look before. The guards here, some of them don't watch me. They watch you. They count your visits, time them. Someone's keeping track of how much time you spend with the enemy. A chill ran down Hana's spine. My father probably isn't behind it. Too obvious. But someone in your court sees you as a threat. Maybe because you're too soft. Too progressive. Maybe just because you exist. Hana thought about the assassination attempts in their history. Princes and princesses who died in convenient accidents. Heirs who disappeared during political transitions. The empire had a long, bloody tradition of removing inconvenient royals. What should I do? Ji-hoon's smile was predatory. Watch your back. Trust no one. And maybe keep a weapon close. That night, Hana couldn't sleep again. She kept thinking about Ji-hoon's warning. About the way certain guards avoided her eyes. About whispered conversations that stopped when she approached. She also thought about Ji-hoon himself. About his scars and his sadness. About the man buried under the soldier. About how his voice softened when he talked about his parents. His lost dreams of teaching. About how, despite everything, she was starting to care about him. The realization terrified her. Caring about the enemy was treason. Caring about a human was unthinkable. Caring about him specifically was dangerous in ways she couldn't even calculate. But she couldn't stop. The next day, she brought him art supplies. Pencils and paper cleared by security. You said you wanted to teach. Teachers create. So create something. Jihoon stared at the supplies like they were alien artifacts. Why? Because you're more than a weapon. Prove it. She left before he could argue. When she returned the next evening, she found the paper covered in drawings. Landscapes of Earth from memory. Faces of people he'd known. A portrait of his mother, detailed and loving. And one drawing of Hana herself. Not formal or flattering. Just honest. Her sitting in the chair looking tired but interested. Human, not royal. She took the drawing. Held it carefully. It's beautiful. It's you, Jihoon said simply. That's how I see you. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. Something neither could name but both recognized. Everything was about to change. The celebration filled the palace with music and light. Emperor Vakrin had declared a festival to honor recent military victories. 3 systems had fallen to the Empire in the past month. Thousands of beings now lived under Vexari rule. The nobles danced and drank expensive wine, celebrating conquest like it was sport. Hana hated every moment. She wore ceremonial robes heavy with jewels. Her hair was styled in the traditional royal manner, uncomfortable and elaborate. Nobles approached her constantly, offering false compliments and barely disguised political maneuvering. Everyone wanted something from a princess. She smiled, nodded, played her role. But her mind was in the detention wing with Jihoon. She'd visited him that morning. He'd been teaching her human combat philosophy, drawing diagrams on paper. Fighting isn't about strength, he'd explained. It's about leverage, timing, and will. Humans win because we use everything. The environment. The enemy's expectations. Their fear. She'd laughed. Are you training me to fight? I'm training you to survive. There's a difference. Now, surrounded by potential enemies in beautiful clothes, she understood what he meant. The attack came during the 7th dance. Hana was near the refreshment table speaking with a minor noble about trade agreements. Boring conversation, but safe. Then she saw movement in her peripheral vision. Too fast, too purposeful. Her training kicked in. Every royal learned to recognize danger. She turned, already moving. The blade missed her throat by inches. The assassin was Vexari, elite guard uniform. His face was covered, but his stance was professional, trained. This wasn't a random attack. Hana screamed. Nobles scattered. The assassin moved again, impossibly fast. His blade cut through her ceremonial robes, missing flesh by a hair's width. Then more assassins appeared, 4, 6, 10. They wore elite guard armor but moved with lethal precision. They weren't here to capture. They were here to kill. The loyal guards responded, but the assassins cut through them easily. These weren't normal soldiers. These were specialists, killers. Hana ran. Her heavy robes slowed her down. She tore them off as she moved, leaving a trail of expensive fabric and jewels. Underneath, she wore simple clothing. Easier to move in. She'd learned that from Jihoon too. Always prepare for disaster. The palace descended into chaos. Screams echoed through marble halls. The assassins pursued her relentlessly. They killed anyone who got in their way. Nobles, servants, guards, they didn't care. Only her death mattered. Hana's mind raced. The main exits would be guarded. Her rooms were too obvious. Where could she go? The detention wing. It was insane. But the detention wing was built like a fortress. Reinforced walls, security doors, and Jihoon was there, the most dangerous human alive. If she could reach him, if she could free him. She ran toward the lower levels. The assassins followed. They were hurting her, she realized, pushing her away from help, toward isolated areas. They wanted her alone, fine, she'd give them alone. The detention wing doors required royal clearance. Hana's handprint opened them instantly. She rushed inside as blaster fire scorched the wall behind her. The door sealed with a heavy clang. It wouldn't hold long. Elite guards had override codes. She ran to Jihoon's cell. He was standing already, chains taut. He'd heard the commotion. His eyes were alert, predatory. The soldier, not the man. Assassins, Hana gasped. 10 or more. Elite guard. They're coming. How long? Minutes. Maybe less. Jihoon held up his chained wrists. Then you know what you have to do. Hana's hands shook as she accessed the cell controls. Freeing a prisoner was treason. Freeing this prisoner was suicide for the Empire. If Jihoon escaped, he'd go back to killing Vixari soldiers. He'd done it before. But if she died, he died too. And despite everything, despite his crimes and her duty, she didn't want him to die. She pressed the release button. The chains fell away with a metallic clatter. Jihoon rubbed his wrists, then moved to the cell door. It slid open. He stepped out, free for the first time in weeks. For a moment, Hana thought he might run, just leave her and escape. Instead, he looked at her with something like respect. Stay behind me. Don't interfere. And for the love of Earth, stay quiet. The detention wing door exploded inward. The assassins entered in formation, weapons ready, professional, efficient. They saw Hana, they saw Jihoon. The lead assassin spoke in Vexari. Princess, step away from the human. Your death can be quick if you cooperate. Who sent you? Hana demanded. Does it matter? You're too dangerous, too soft. The Empire needs strength, not sympathy. So Jihoon had been right. Her own people wanted her dead. Jihoon stepped forward, unarmed and barefoot. He looked almost casual. But Hana had learned to read his body language. Every muscle was coiled, ready. Leave, Jihoon said calmly. She's under my protection now. The assassins laughed. 10 trained killers against 1 unarmed prisoner. It was absurd. Then Jihoon moved. Hana had seen him in security footage, watched recordings of his battles, but seeing it in person was different. He was fast. Impossibly fast. He closed the distance to the nearest assassin before the man could fire. Jihoon used the assassin's own weapon against him, twisted it, fired point blank into another attacker. Then he had a blade. Then 2 blades. It wasn't a fight. It was a massacre. Jihoon moved like water through the assassins. Every motion had purpose. No wasted energy. He used walls for leverage, turned their numbers against them, made them block each other's shots. The detention wing became a slaughterhouse. Hana pressed against the wall, watching in horror and awe. This was the Reaper. This was what made humans terrifying. Not technology or numbers, pure refined violence. In 90 seconds, it was over. 10 assassins lay dead or dying. Jihoon stood among them, breathing hard. Blood covered him. Most of it wasn't his. He looked at Hana. More will come. We need to leave, now. Her mind struggled to process what she'd just witnessed. How did you— Later! Move! They ran through the palace. Alarms blared. Lockdown protocols activated, but Jihoon knew exactly where to go. He'd studied the palace layout during interrogation, memorized every exit. They reached the landing pads. A small courier ship sat ready for some noble's pleasure trip. Jihoon broke the security with a stolen guard's access code. Get in, he ordered. Hana hesitated at the ramp. Once she entered that ship, she was a fugitive. A traitor. Everything she'd known would be gone. Behind them, more guards appeared. These weren't assassins. These were loyal palace security, confused and terrified. One of them called her name. Princess Hana, stop. You're in danger! Maybe they truly believed Jihoon was kidnapping her. Maybe they didn't know about the assassination plot. Jihoon drew a weapon, ready to fire. No, Hana said. They're innocent. They're in the way. I won't let you kill them. Their eyes met. A moment of understanding passed between them. Jihoon lowered the weapon. Then we run, fast. They entered the ship. The ramp sealed. Jihoon moved to the pilot seat with practiced ease. His hands flew over the controls. The engine hummed to life. Blaster fire pinged off the hull. The guards were shooting now, not to kill, but to disable. The ship lifted, cleared the landing pad, shot into the night sky of Vexar Prime. Behind them, the palace grew smaller. Hana's home, her entire life, everything she'd known, gone. She sat in the co-pilot seat, numb with shock. Jihoon plotted a course away from the planet. His face was grim, focused. Where are we going? She asked. Anywhere but here. He glanced at her. You just committed treason, Princess. Your father will send the fleet after us. Every system will be alerted. You're the most wanted fugitive in the Empire now. I know. No going back. I know. Jihoon's expression softened slightly. Why did you free me, really? Hana looked at the blood on his arms, the cuts and bruises from the fight, the way he moved even now with predatory awareness. Because you're right, she said. I was trapped. In a cage of duty and expectations, you offered something else, something real. Death is real. That's what we're facing now. Maybe, but at least I chose it. Jihoon almost smiled. Welcome to being human, princess. We live free or die trying. The ship jumped to faster than light travel. Behind them, Vexar Prime disappeared from sensors. Ahead, the galaxy waited. Hostile, dangerous, unknown. And Hana had never felt more alive. The stolen ship drifted through empty space. Jihoon had powered down most systems to avoid detection. They were between stars, in the dark places where sensors couldn't reach. Safe for now. The silence pressed against Hana's ears. She'd never experienced quiet like this. The palace had always hummed with activity. Servants, guards, machines. Now there was only the soft breathing of life support and Jihoon's steady presence. He sat at the pilot station monitoring passive sensors, watching for pursuit. He'd changed from his prison clothes into a maintenance uniform found in the ship's storage. Too small but functional, Hana watched him work. His movements were efficient, practiced. He'd probably stolen ships before. "How long can we stay here?" she asked. 6 hours, maybe 8. Then we need to move. They'll be scanning every system by now. He didn't look at her. "You should rest." "I can't sleep." "Try anyway. When they find us, you'll need to be sharp." Hana moved to the small sleeping quarters in the back. The bed was narrow, meant for one person. She lay down, but her mind raced. Hours ago, she'd been a princess. Now she was a fugitive. The shift was too sudden to process. She touched the spot where the assassin's blade had nearly cut her throat. Centimeters. That's how close death had been. Jihoon had saved her. The monster everyone feared had protected her without hesitation. Why? She must have dozed eventually because she woke to find Jihoon standing over her. His hand was near her shoulder but not touching. Like he'd been about to wake her but hesitated. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Sensor contact. 2 ships, Vexari military. They're sweeping this sector." His voice was calm, but she heard the tension underneath. "We need to move quietly." She followed him to the cockpit. On the display, 2 red dots moved in a search pattern. Slow. Methodical. They'd find the ship eventually. "Can we outrun them?" "Not in this courier. It's fast, but not military fast." Jihoon's fingers moved over the controls, calculating. "But I have an idea. It's dangerous." "Everything's dangerous now," he almost smiled. "Fair point." He brought up a star chart. "There's an asteroid field 3 light-years from here. Dense, lots of metal ore that interferes with sensors. If we can reach it before they spot us, we can hide. And if they spot us, then we find out if I'm as good a pilot as I think I am." They ran silent, engines on minimum power. The ship crept toward the asteroid field. Hana watched the military vessels on sensors. They moved in expanding circles, covering more space with each pass. One of the ships turned toward them. "They've got us," Jihoon muttered. "Hold on." The engines roared to life. The ship leaped forward. Behind them, the military vessels accelerated. What followed was the most terrifying hour of Hana's life. Jihoon flew like a man possessed. He pushed the courier ship beyond its safety limits. Alarms screamed. The hull groaned under the stress. They entered the asteroid field at speeds that should have been suicide. Jihoon wove between massive rocks spinning in the void. Some were as large as moons. Others were fragments no bigger than the ship itself. All of them would kill them instantly on impact. The military ships followed, but couldn't match Jihoon's recklessness. Human reflexes, human desperation. He flew like he had nothing to lose. Maybe he didn't. They dove deeper into the field. Sensors became useless in the metal-rich environment. Navigation was pure instinct and calculation. One wrong move and they'd be debris. Finally, Jihoon found a hollow asteroid. Its interior had been mined out long ago. He guided the ship inside and powered down everything. Total darkness. Total silence. They waited. Minutes stretched. Hana's heart pounded so hard she thought it might give away their position. Jihoon sat motionless, listening to passive sensors. The military ships passed nearby, searched, found nothing. Eventually they left. Hana exhaled. She hadn't realized she'd been holding her breath. "We're safe?" she whispered. "For now." Jihoon leaned back in his seat. His hands shook slightly, the adrenaline wearing off. "We'll stay here for a day. Let them move on." With the immediate danger past, reality set in. They were alone. Truly alone. No guards, no walls. No chains, just two people in the dark. Hana noticed the blood on Ji-hoon's shirt. From the fight in the detention wing. You're hurt. I've had worse. Let me see. He hesitated, then lifted his shirt. Cuts crossed his torso. Most were shallow, already clotting, but one looked deep. A blade wound along his ribs. Medical supplies should be in the back, Ji-hoon said. Standard on courier ships. Hana found the kit and returned. In the dim emergency lighting, she cleaned his wounds. Her hands were gentle but steady. Royal education included basic medical training. She'd just never used it on someone like him. Why did you save me? She asked as she worked. You could have escaped during the chaos, left me to die. You freed me, after weeks of your imprisonment. That wasn't your fault. He winced as she applied medical sealant to the worst cut. You didn't order my capture. Didn't torture me. You just talked to me. Saw me as a person. Still, you're risking your life now. For me, Ji-hoon caught her hand. His grip was warm, calloused. A soldier's hand. Maybe I'm tired of only knowing how to kill. Maybe helping someone live for once feels better. Their faces were close now. In the darkness, Hana could barely see his expression, but she felt the intensity. I don't know what I'm doing, she admitted. I've never been free before. Never chosen anything for myself. Neither have I, not really. My choices were taken away when your empire killed my family. I'm sorry for what they did, for what my people continue to do. Don't apologize for things you can't control. His thumb traced her knuckles. But maybe you can change things from outside the system, without the crown weighing you down. How? I'm one person. So am I, but one person can matter. One voice speaking truth can start a revolution. Hana didn't plan what happened next. Neither did Ji-hoon. It simply occurred, natural as gravity. She kissed him. He froze for half a second, surprised. Then he kissed back. It was gentle at first. Exploratory, two different species learning each other. But then something deeper ignited. Need. Connection. The desperate human desire to feel alive in the face of death. They moved to the sleeping quarters. The narrow bed barely fit them both. But they made it work. What followed was tender and awkward and perfect. Ji-hoon's hands were careful despite their scars. Hana's inexperience didn't matter because he moved slowly, patiently. They learned each other's bodies like they'd learned each other's minds. Different species. Different backgrounds. But in the essential ways, they were the same. Both needed connection. Both needed to feel less alone. Afterward, they lay tangled together. Hana's head rested on Ji-hoon's chest. She could hear his heartbeat. Steady, strong, human. This changes nothing, Ji-hoon said quietly. We're still fugitives. Still hunted. I know. Your people will want you dead or captured. My people will see you as the enemy. I know. We probably won't survive the month. Hana lifted her head to look at him. Then let's make the month count. He smiled. Really smiled, not the bitter expression she was used to. You're more human than you know, princess. Stop calling me that. I'm not a princess anymore. Then what are you? She thought about it. Free, terrified, alive, with you. That's enough, Ji-hoon said. For now, that's enough. They slept then, holding each other in the dark. The universe might want them dead. The Empire certainly did, but for those few hours none of it mattered. When they woke, Ji-hoon checked sensors again. The military ships had moved to another sector. The search continued, but not here. Where do we go now? Hana asked. Ji-hoon pulled up the star charts. I know a place. Neutral territory. Haven Station. It's a free port. No Empire, no military. Just traders and refugees. We can hide there, resupply, figure out our next move. And after that? He looked at her seriously. After that, we survive, together. That's all anyone can do. Hana nodded. She dressed in simple clothes from the ship's storage. No royal robes, no jewels. Just practical fabric. It felt right. As the ship powered up and left the asteroid field, she took one last look back at Vexar space. Her home was back there. Her family. Her entire past. She didn't feel sad. She felt relieved. Ahead was the unknown, dangerous and uncertain, but beside her was Ji-hoon, and somehow that made everything possible. Haven Station hung in the void like a massive metal flower. Sections bloomed from a central core, each petal a different district. Trade, manufacturing, living quarters, entertainment. The station was older than the Vexari Empire, built by a civilization now extinct. No one owned it. No one governed it. That was the point. Ji-hoon guided their ship through the docking maze. Hundreds of vessels clustered around the station. Every species, every design. Pirates next to merchants, next to refugees. Haven Station didn't discriminate. Money was the only law here. "Stay close," Ji-hoon said as they prepared to disembark. "Keep your head down. Don't speak unless necessary. Your accent will mark you as Vexari Royale." Hana nodded. She wore plain clothes and a hood. Without her robes and jewelry, she looked like any other traveler. Just another face in the crowd. The docking ramp lowered. The air that rushed in smelled like oil and spices and too many bodies in too little space. Hana had never experienced anything like it. The palace had always been clean, filtered, perfect. This was real. They walked through crowded corridors. Beings of every species bumped past. Traders hawked goods in a dozen languages. Somewhere music played. Somewhere else someone screamed. Life happened here, raw and unfiltered. Ji-hoon navigated like he'd been here before. Probably had. He led them deep into the station, away from the main thoroughfares. The corridors grew narrower. The lighting dimmer. He stopped at a nondescript door. Knocked in a specific pattern. The door opened. A human woman appeared. She was older than Ji-hoon, maybe 40. Scars marked her face. Her eyes were sharp, assessing. "Ji-hoon," her voice was flat. "Heard you were dead." "Heard wrong." The woman's gaze shifted to Hana. "Who's this?" "Someone who needs help. Everyone here needs help. What makes her special?" "She's with me, Mina, that's all you need to know." Mina studied them both for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. "Come in, quickly." The room beyond was a medical clinic. Basic but clean. Equipment hummed quietly. Chemical smells filled the air. Mina closed the door behind them and activated a privacy shield. "Off with the shirt," she told Ji-hoon. "Let me see the damage." While Mina examined Ji-hoon's injuries, Hana looked around. Medical texts lined the shelves. Human texts mostly. A few alien ones. Photos hung on one wall. Younger versions of Mina with other humans. Soldiers by their stance. "You were military," Hana said. Mina glanced at her. "Observant, yes, combat medic. Served with this idiot during the colony wars." She jabbed Ji-hoon's ribs, making him wince. "Before he went all lone wolf on us. I work better alone. You work better dead, apparently. These wounds are infected. When did this happen?" 3 days ago." 3 days? Mina's voice sharpened. "And you didn't treat them properly?" "Ji-hoon, I taught you better. We were busy running." Mina prepared injections. "Strong antibiotics by the smell." She worked efficiently, professionally. "You're wanted by the Vexari Empire. Both of you." The station's buzzing with bounty notices. Hana's stomach dropped. "How much?" "For him? 200,000 credits. For you?" Mina smiled without humor. "500,000 alive. They really want you back, princess." So they knew. Of course they knew. Ji-hoon's hand moved to his weapon. "You planning to collect?" "If I was, you'd already be stunned." Mina finished the injection. "I'm not in the bounty business anymore. But others are. You can't stay here long. We need supplies, information, a ship with better range. That'll cost money." "I have money." Ji-hoon produced a credit chip. "From my last contract." Mina checked the chip. Her eyebrows rose. "This is legitimate." "I'm impressed. Usually you bring me stolen credit." Times change. While Mina prepared supplies, she studied Hana more carefully. "You care about him." "I can tell." Hana didn't deny it. "Yes, why?" "He's a killer, not much else. There's more to him than that." "You've known him what, a month?" "I've known him 10 years. Trust me, princess. The Reaper is exactly what people say. He's good at one thing, killing." Ji-hoon's voice was cold. "Mina? She deserves to know what she's gotten into." Mina turned to Hana fully. "Ji-hoon's a good man underneath. I won't deny that. But war broke something in him. He can't sleep properly, can't relax. Every sound is a threat. Every stranger is an enemy. You think you can save him? You can't, he's too far gone." "I don't want to save him," Hana said quietly. "I just want to be with him." Mina's expression softened slightly. "Fair enough. Your funeral." She handed them a bag of supplies. Medical kit, rations, fake IDs. They won't hold up to serious scrutiny, but they'll get you past basic scans. Thank you, Hana said. Don't thank me. I'm doing this for him, not you. But Mina's tone wasn't entirely hostile. There's a ship dealer 3 sections down. Doyun runs it. Tell him I sent you. He owes me favors. Jihoon stood to leave, but Mina stopped him. Wait, there's something you should know. Word is the Empire isn't just hunting you. They're mobilizing. Big fleet movements. Someone high up is taking this personally. Hana's father, Jihoon said. The Emperor, probably. But there's more. Intelligence chatter suggests they're using this as an excuse. They're planning something bigger, against human colonies. Hana felt sick. Because of me? Because of you running with a human. They're spinning it as an act of war. Human terrorists kidnapping royalty. It gives them justification to strike first. That's insane, Hana said. Jihoon didn't kidnap me. I chose to leave. Truth doesn't matter in politics. Only the story. Mina looked grim. The Empire wants war with humanity. They have for years. You just gave them the excuse. Jihoon's jaw tightened. How long? Weeks, maybe less. They're calling it a rescue mission. But it's an invasion force. Hana's mind raced. Innocent people would die. Human colonies like New Seoul. Families like Jihoon's, all because she ran away. I have to stop it, she said. I have to tell the truth. How? Jihoon asked. The Empire controls all major communication channels. Any broadcast you make, they'll jam or dismiss as fake. Then I'll go to the Galactic Council. They have authority over member species. If I testify, you'll be arrested the moment you enter council space. Your father has diplomatic immunity. You don't. Hana felt helpless. Everything she did made things worse. Jihoon took her hand. We'll figure it out. One step at a time. First we survive, then we fight back. They left Mina's clinic and found Doyun's ship dealership. The man was human, younger than Mina but with the same hard-worn look. Combat veteran. They all were. When Jihoon explained their situation, Doyun whistled low. You don't ask for small favors, do you? Can you help or not? Doyun led them to a hangar bay. Inside sat a sleek ship, smaller than the courier but clearly faster. Military grade modified for civilian use. Scout class. Fast, stealthy. Good range. It's not legal in most systems, but I doubt that matters to you. How much? For you? Cost. 50,000 credits. Jihoon transferred the funds without hesitation. Doyun handed over the access codes. She's fueled and ready. Weapon systems are disabled per station regulations, but I'm sure you'll figure out how to reactivate them. As they prepared to leave, Doyun pulled Jihoon aside. Hana pretended not to listen but heard anyway. Is she worth it? Doyun asked quietly. Starting a war over one woman? I didn't start this war. The Empire did, years ago when they burned New Seoul. Jihoon's voice was firm. She's just the first person with power who actually gave a damn about the truth. And if humans die because you're protecting her, then they die knowing someone finally stood up. That's more than most get. Doyun nodded slowly. You always were the stubborn type. Good luck, brother. You'll need it. They boarded the scout ship. Hana took the co-pilot seat, familiarizing herself with the controls. The layout was different from Vexari ships, but logical. Where now? She asked. Jihoon plotted a course. Somewhere we can think, plan, maybe find allies. Do you have allies? A few, people who owe me favors. Other humans who hate the Empire as much as I do. He paused. And maybe you could help with that. You know how the Empire works. Their tactics, their politics. That's valuable intelligence. Hana considered it. She'd spent her whole life in the palace. Watched her father in the court maneuver. She knew their strategies, their weaknesses. I can help, she said. I know things. Secret things. About fleet deployments. Political alliances. Where the Empire is vulnerable. Then we're not helpless. We can fight back. The ship launched from Haven Station. Behind them, bounty hunters probably were already searching. Ahead, the Empire mobilized for war. But Hana felt something new. Purpose. For the first time in her life, she wasn't just existing. She was acting, fighting, choosing. Beside her, Jihoon flew with quiet confidence. The Reaper. The monster. The man she loved. Jihoon, she said softly. Yes, thank you. For not giving up on me. He glanced at her. His expression was gentler than she'd ever seen. Thank you for not giving up on yourself. They flew into the dark between stars, two fugitives against an empire. But they flew together, and somehow that made all the difference. The scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a dead system. No planets worth colonizing, no resources worth mining, just empty space and ancient debris from some long-ago catastrophe. Perfect for hiding. Jihoon powered down to minimum systems and activated stealth protocols. On sensors, they'd appear as just another piece of space junk, as long as no one looked too closely. "How long do we wait here?" Hana asked. "Until I hear from my contacts. I sent encrypted messages from Haven Station. If anyone responds, we'll know we have friends left. And if no one responds?" Jihoon didn't answer. They both knew what that meant. The waiting was harder than running. At least when they were moving, they had purpose. Now they just sat in the dark, listening to the ship's systems hum. Hana spent the time teaching Jihoon about Vexari Imperial structure. She drew organizational charts on a datapad, explained which generals reported to whom, which families held real power versus ceremonial titles. "My father has 3 military advisors," she said. "General Crash is the most dangerous. He's my uncle, my father's younger brother. Brilliant tactician, but absolutely ruthless. If anyone's leading the hunt for us, it's him." "How ruthless?" "He once ordered an entire colony sterilized because they refused to pay increased taxes. 3 million people. He didn't hesitate." Jihoon's expression darkened. "Sounds like someone who needs killing." "He's also extremely careful. Never puts himself in danger. Always has multiple escape routes. He survived 4 assassination attempts. 5 times is the charm." Despite everything, Hana smiled. Jihoon's dark humor had become familiar, comforting in a strange way. On the 3rd day, a response came through. Encrypted human codes. Jihoon decrypted it and read silently. "What is it?" Hana asked. "Confirmation. Some of my old unit is still active. They've been watching the situation. They're willing to meet." He paused. "But they want assurances. They need to know you're not a trap." "How do I prove that?" "You can't, not really. They'll have to decide if they trust me. And if they trust you." They traveled to the rendezvous point, a mining station in the outer rim, far from any major trade routes. The station was barely functional. Half the sections were depressurized, but a few hundred people still lived there, scraping out a living from ice mining. 3 humans waited in a private docking bay. 2 men, 1 woman. All wore civilian clothes but moved like soldiers. Jihoon recognized them immediately. "Doyon Hyunjisu." He greeted each with a nod. "The Reaper returns," Doyon said. He was the one from Haven Station. Must have followed them. "And he brings interesting company." Jisoo studied Hana with open suspicion. "That's really her? The princess everyone's hunting?" "Yes," Hana said before Jihoon could answer. "I'm Hana, 3rd daughter of Emperor Vakrin. And I'm here because I want to help stop a war." "Help?" Jisoo laughed bitterly. "You started the war, princess. Your people are mobilizing as we speak. 5 battle groups, heading straight for human colonies. I didn't start anything. I ran from assassins who wanted me dead. Jihoon saved my life, and now human lives are at risk because of it." Hana felt the anger rise. "My people have been killing humans for decades. You think this started with me? They burned New Sol, they destroyed colony after colony. I've watched it happen my entire life and no one cared. But now that I'm involved, suddenly it matters." The room went quiet. Hyun spoke for the first time. He was older, scarred. "She's got fire. I'll give her that." "Fire doesn't win wars," Jisoo said. "Information does, strategy, resources. What does she bring besides a target on her back?" "Intelligence," Jihoon said. "She knows Imperial fleet movements. Command structure. Weaknesses in their defense grid. Things we've been guessing at for years." "And we're supposed to trust this?" "Yes," Jihoon's voice was firm. "I trust her. That should be enough." Doyon and Hyun exchanged glances. Some silent communication passed between them. "Fine," Doyon said. "We'll take the risk. But if she betrays us, she won't. If she does, it's on you." Over the next hours, Hana shared everything she knew. Fleet compositions, supply routes, political tensions within the military command. She held nothing back. The humans listened, asked questions, cross-referenced her information with their own intelligence. Slowly, their suspicion turned to respect. "This is good," Hyun admitted. "Really good. We've been operating blind for years. This gives us a real chance. A chance at what? Hana asked. You're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Humans don't win through numbers, Jisoo said. We win through being unpredictable. Through hitting where you're weak. Through never, ever giving up. That worked when you were fighting isolated battles, Hana said. But my uncle is coming with 5 battle groups. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of soldiers. You can't guerrilla fight your way out of that. Then we do something they won't expect, Jihoon said quietly. Everyone looked at him. What are you thinking? Doyen asked. Jihoon pulled up a star chart. Hana said General Kresh is leading the hunt personally. He's in the lead battle group. If we could take him out, impossible, Jisoo interrupted. He'll be on a flagship, surrounded by escorts. We'd need a fleet to even get close. We don't attack the flagship. We attack his pride. Jihoon pointed to a system on the chart. This is Tarvin 5, small human colony. Barely defended. Kresh will assume we'll try to warn them, help evacuate. So we do warn them. But we also set a trap, make Kresh think he's cornered us. When he comes in for the kill, we turn the tables. Hyun frowned. That's suicide. Even if we hurt him, we'll die in the process. Maybe, but we'll make him pay. And more importantly, we'll expose the truth. Broadcast it to the whole galaxy. Show that the Empire attacked human civilians, that the princess was right to run. The plan was insane. Hana could see it on everyone's faces, but she could also see them considering it. It would need to be perfect, Doyen said. Timing, execution, everything. When has anything we've done been perfect? Jihoon smiled grimly. We make it work. That's what humans do. They spent days planning. Every detail was argued, refined. Hana contributed what she knew about her uncle's tactics. Jisoo provided technical expertise. Hyun handled logistics. During the planning, Hana noticed something about Jihoon. He was different here with his people. Still dangerous, still intense, but also more relaxed. Like he'd found a piece of himself he'd lost. One night she found him alone in their quarters staring at his hands. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing. Just thinking. He flexed his fingers. These hands have killed so many people. I've lost count. Hundreds, maybe more. You were a soldier. You did what you had to. Did I? He looked at her. Or did I just become good at it? So good that I forgot how to be anything else? Hana sat beside him. You saved me. Protected me. Cared for me. That's not just a killer. Maybe. Or maybe I just found a different reason to fight. She took his hands in hers. Then fight for the right reasons. Help me end this war. Stop my people from killing more innocents. And after, if we somehow survive, then we figure out how to live together. As people, not soldiers. Jihoon pulled her close. They'd been intimate before, but this felt different. Deeper. Like they were trying to memorize each other before the storm. Afterward, Hana lay against him, listening to his heartbeat. It was steady now, peaceful, but she knew that could change in an instant. Jihoon never fully relaxed. Even in sleep, part of him remained alert. She understood Mina's warning now. This man was broken in ways that might never heal. The war had taken pieces of him that couldn't be recovered, but she loved him anyway. Broken pieces and all. Don't wake him, she whispered to herself, watching him sleep. Not because of danger, but because these moments of peace were so rare, so precious. The plan finalized. They would travel to Tarvin 5, warn the colonists, set their trap, and wait for General Kresh to take the bait. It was probably suicide, but it was also the right thing to do. The night before they left, the group gathered for a final meal. Simple rations heated in the station's kitchen. Nothing special, but eaten together it felt like more. To humanity, Doyen raised his cup. May we never learn to quit. To humanity, everyone echoed. Hana raised her cup too. She wasn't human, but she fought for them now, believed in them, loved one of them. To humanity, she said quietly, and to choosing the right side. Jihoon met her eyes across the table. In his gaze, she saw gratitude, affection, and something deeper. Hope. Maybe they would die tomorrow. Probably would. But at least they'd die trying to do something good. That was more than most could say. Tarvin 5 looked peaceful from orbit. A small colony world with scattered settlements. Most of the population lived underground, protected from the harsh surface winds. 20,000 people, farmers mostly, growing food in hydroponic caves. They had no idea death was coming for them. Jihoon's team had spent 3 days preparing. They'd evacuated the civilians to hidden bunkers, set up sensor baffles and false readings, made it look like the princess was hiding here. Made it look like they were desperate and trapped. General Kresh took the bait. 5 battle groups dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the system's edge. Hundreds of ships. Enough firepower to sterilize the planet 10 times over. Hana watched them on sensors from the hidden command post. Her uncle's flagship was easy to identify. Massive, heavily armed, the pride of the Vexari Imperial fleet. He brought everything, Jisoo muttered. Arrogant bastard? That's the point, Jihoon said. He thinks he's won. That we're cornered. Let him believe it. The Imperial fleet moved into standard orbital assault positions, surrounding the planet, blocking all escape routes. Textbook tactics. Exactly what Hana had said they'd do. Incoming transmission, Hyun reported. General Kresh wants to speak with the princess. Hana's stomach tightened. Her uncle. She'd known him her whole life. He'd taught her strategy games as a child, told her stories of military campaigns. She'd admired him once. Now she understood what he really was. Put him through, she said. General Kresh's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than she remembered. Gray scales around his eyes, but still sharp, still dangerous. Hana, his voice was almost gentle. This has gone too far. Come home. Your father misses you. My father sent assassins to kill me. Traitors in the court. They've been dealt with. You're safe now. I'll never be safe in the Empire, not while I know the truth about what you do to innocent species. Kresh's expression hardened. Innocent? No species is innocent, child. Only strong or weak. We are strong. That's why we rule. You're murderers. We're survivors. Just like your human friends. You think they're noble? They've killed thousands of Vexari soldiers, destroyed our ships, terrorized our colonies. They're no different than us. They're defending themselves. You attacked first. History is written by victors. The details don't matter. Kresh leaned forward. I'll give you one chance. Surrender. Come aboard my flagship. The human terrorists can leave unharmed. This ends peacefully. Hana glanced at Jihoon. He shook his head slightly. He knew it was a lie. I want guarantees, Hana said, stalling. Recorded promises, witnessed by the Galactic Council. You're in no position to negotiate. Then you're in no position to have me surrender. Kresh's patience visibly frayed. I have 5 battle groups. You have a handful of humans and stolen technology. I will take you by force if necessary, and if the human vermin resist, I'll burn this entire colony to ash. There are civilians here. Then they'll die for harboring terrorists. The Empire's mercy has limits. The transmission cut off. Jihoon was already moving. He'll wait 1 hour for psychological effect. Then he'll attack. Everyone to positions. The next hour crawled by. Hana could feel her heartbeat in her throat. This was it. The trap would spring or they'd all die. The Imperial fleet moved into attack formation. Weapons powered up. The flagship positioned itself at the center, directing the assault. Exactly where they needed it. Now, Jihoon said quietly. Doyen activated the first sequence. Across the planet's surface, hidden transmitters came online. Not weapons. Information warfare. Every ship in the Imperial fleet suddenly received the same broadcast. Hana's recorded testimony. Evidence of Empire war crimes. Proof that she left willingly. Recordings of her uncle ordering civilian massacres. The truth raw and undeniable. They're trying to jam it, Hyun reported. But it's multi-frequency. We planned for that. The broadcast wasn't just local. It was being relayed to every major convoy in this sector. Within minutes, it would reach the Galactic Council. Human worlds. Neutral systems. The Empire couldn't suppress it fast enough. He's responding, Jisoo said. The flagship is breaking formation. Coming straight for us. Perfect. General Kresh was too proud to ignore the insult. Too angry to think clearly. He'd take the bait personally. The flagship descended toward the planet, escorts scrambling to keep up. They were moving too fast, too aggressive, breaking their own tactical protocols. Wait for it, Jihoon murmured. The flagship entered the atmosphere. Its shields flared against the entry friction. Sensors would be partially blinded by the ionization. That's when the second trap activated. The humans had seeded the planet's upper atmosphere with mines weeks ago. Tiny, nearly invisible. Each one was barely a weapon. But thousands of them, detonating in precise sequence, created a cascading electromagnetic pulse. The flagship's shields failed. For exactly 3.7 seconds, the most powerful warship in the Vixari fleet was vulnerable. 3.7 seconds was enough. Jihoon's scout ship, hidden in a polar crater, shot upward on maximum thrust. Weapons hot. He'd reactivated every illegal system Doyen had installed. The ship wasn't designed for this kind of combat, but it didn't need to be. It just needed to get close. The scout ship screamed through the atmosphere. Point defense systems on the flagship tried to lock on, but the EMP aftereffects made targeting difficult. Jihoon flew like a madman, dodging fire through instinct and skill. He reached the flagship's ventral hull, the weakest point designed to face planets, not threats. He fired everything: missiles, railgun rounds, energy weapons, all of it at point-blank range into the shield generators. Then he activated the self-destruct. The scout ship's reactor went critical. Jihoon ejected in an escape pod milliseconds before the explosion. The blast carved through the flagship's lower decks like fire through paper. Hana watched from the surface, her heart stopped. The escape pod tumbled through the sky, trailing smoke. "Lock onto that pod," she screamed. "Get him back." But the Imperial escorts were already moving. They saw the pod too. Some moved to rescue. Others moved to destroy, assuming it was a threat. The flagship was falling, massive, wounded. It wouldn't survive the descent. But before it went down, General Kresh made one final choice. He fired on the planet. Everything he had. All weapons. A dying monster's last bite. The surface installations exploded. The hidden command post shook. Alarms screamed. Hana was thrown against the wall. "Evacuate," Hyun yelled. The structures collapsing, they ran. Down tunnels that buckled and broke. Past rooms that filled with fire. Jisoo didn't make it. A ceiling collapse took her. Hyun tried to go back, but Doyen dragged him forward. They reached the surface just as the flagship crashed 3 kilometers away. The impact was like a small earthquake. A mushroom cloud of dust and debris rose into the sky. Hana stumbled to her feet. The escape pod. Where was the escape pod? She saw it. Maybe a kilometer away. Intact somehow. But Imperial soldiers were moving toward it. The escorts had landed troops. "No," Hana whispered. She ran. Ignored Doyen's shouts. Ignored the danger. She just ran toward that pod, toward Jihoon. An Imperial soldier stepped in her path. Raised a weapon. Hana didn't stop. She hit him with all her weight. They went down together. She'd never fought before, not really. But desperation was a weapon too. She grabbed his sidearm. Didn't know how to use it properly. Just pointed and pulled the trigger. The soldier fell. She kept running. More soldiers. More weapons. But then Doyun was there, and Hyun, fighting beside her. Cutting a path. They reached the pod. Hana tore open the hatch. Jihoon was inside, bleeding, unconscious, but breathing. "Get him up," Doyen ordered. "The transport's coming." A small human ship descended through the smoke. Civilian design, but fast. One of the evacuated colonists coming back to help. They loaded Jihoon aboard. Took off under fire. The Imperial troops couldn't follow. Their own flagship's crash had scattered them. Created chaos. The small transport broke atmosphere and jumped to faster-than-light travel before the escorts could organize pursuit. In the medical bay, Hana held Jihoon's hand while Doyen worked on his injuries. Broken ribs, internal bleeding, concussion, but alive. "He'll make it," Doyen said finally. "Stubborn bastard's too mean to die." Hana couldn't speak. Relief choked her. They rendezvoused with other human ships 3 systems away. A small fleet gathering in response to the broadcast. The truth had spread. The galaxy had seen. General Kresh was dead, his flagship destroyed. The other battle groups had retreated in confusion. And Hana's testimony was everywhere. Every news channel. Every diplomatic frequency. The Galactic Council was demanding answers from the Empire. It wasn't over. The war would continue. But the truth was out. Humans had allies now, witnesses, proof. A week later, Jihoon woke up. Hana was sitting beside his bed as she had been constantly. When his eyes opened, she nearly cried. "Hey," he said weakly. "Did we win?" "We survived." "That's what humans do, right?" He smiled, then winced. "Everything hurts. You blew up a flagship. With yourself inside it. What did you expect?" "Fair point." He tried to sit up. Hana gently pushed him back down. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough. But Doyen says you'll heal. Eventually." She squeezed his hand. "You scared me." Sorry, had to make it convincing. Convincing? You almost died. Almost doesn't count. His smile faded. Jisoo,